Okay, good morning, my most amazing art students. Today, I thought it would be fun for us to do a picture of Van Gogh's bedroom, or you could draw your own bedroom using the same techniques. Either way, I'm going to do some oil pastels, crayons. You're going to need some paper. You can use white. I've chosen blue because the background of his picture is blue and I kind of like it. So I'm going to work with that as a base color. And then I'm going to use white, brown, black, orange. I got two greens, the light and a dark green, red, yellow, and blue. So an easy way to think of this is just grab all of the colors of the rainbow except for purple, and then add brown, black, and white. And you'll have what you need. And you can do this in regular crayon if you want to. I'm going to just use the crayons to draw the picture out, and then we'll color it in together. It's going to be fun. This is the bedroom that Van Gogh had when he lived in Arles, which is a little country town outside of Paris where he moved to. He even convinced Gauguin to go with him, but Gauguin did not like this little town and was not happy living with Van Gogh. So he ended up leaving there. But this is the bedroom that Van Gogh stayed in. And as you can see in this picture, he painted some of his portraits on the wall and his landscapes. Kind of cool. So this is what he painted of his room. And so we're going to do a little picture inspired by this bedroom. And as I said at the beginning, you don't have to do his bedroom. But some of the techniques we'll use can help you draw your bedroom if you'd rather. I'd love to see some of your work. And as I said, today we're going to use these oil pastels. A lot of kids have these crayons. They got them for Christmas. But don't feel bad if you don't have crayons. You can get them at the store. But going to the store these days is a little harder than it used to be. So no worries. Use your crayons and draw along with me. I'd love to have you with me. And I'm going to set this picture up here so I can keep looking at it. And I'm going to grab my white crayon. My white crayon is needing to be peeled a little bit because I've used it quite a bit. And I'm going to use a lot of it today. So I'm going to peel it back. Now, be sure if you are using these oil pastels with me, that you have some paper towel with you for your fingers. And that you're working on a surface that won't get messed up. You need like a piece of wax paper down on the table, or you don't want to wipe these on your clothes. They are oil pastels. So just like we did at school, you need to keep your hands on the table and then wipe your hands with a dry rag at the end before you add water and wash them, okay? All right, so let's first map out the back of our room. His room goes back in space, as you can see. So we've got to make that back in space part. And I'm going to try to do this really simply. We're going to come down here with the door and just draw that line. And then we're going to go back from there a little bit and draw the corner of the room. And then the back goes all the way over here. And it disappears somewhere behind the bed, so we don't need to finish it. And then we need to make sure we have enough room for all of this stuff to be drawn. So we're going to come over maybe about right here, and we're going to make a little dot almost to the top of our paper, but not quite. And then we're going to kind of draw a line that sort of falls off there. That's going to be the corner that disappears behind the bed. And then we're going to put the corner of the ceiling coming up like a triangle there. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and map in our window, which is pretty prominent. It's right here. And even though it is green, it does have some really light whites behind it because I'm using blue paper. I'm going to go ahead and just give myself an idea of where I want to put it. And then I'm going to come in and make some going back in space squares or rectangles, leaving a little space in the middle. Okay, so we're gonna kind of make it go back at an angle. I don't know if you can see that, because it's like an accordion window. Oops, and I just broke it. I'm famous for breaking crayons and pastels. So now we have these little things. We need 3 more here, full ones, and then 2 partials. So we're going to go right here, make another square, going back in space. And we're going to make 1 more set. And I broke it again. I am just the worst. I pressed too hard. I'm very passionate. What can I say? All right. So now we have our window laid in. We also have a mirror here, and it appears white. So we're going to go ahead and whiten that space, and we'll add our frame later. Because as we know, boys and girls, you can teach your parents this. When we work with these pastels, we work from light to dark. The reason is because it can get really muddy really fast. Some of you learned that this year. And over here, we have a larger landscape painting. So we're going to do a large rectangle in white. And then we have our wall divider, and then we have a few more over here. So he's got them at kind of funny angles because they're actually hanging from something, from a string, from the ceiling. That was how they used to hang pictures. They used to have a rail at the top and a long wire or cord, and they would hang them and they would sort of tilt. So it looks like either his ceiling is tilted a little bit, or that wall might be tilted a little. And then let's see, we've got one here. And you can go ahead and fill them. I mean, we're going to put people's faces in there, but let's give it a little white space. If you're using construction paper like me, you need to kind of make a white background to work on. And then 1 more over here. I don't have it exactly the same placement, but that's okay. Actually, my room is a little bit off because there should be a door right here. So I may end up getting rid of that one. We'll see. Okay. I do like that blue over there, so I may have to make that work. May have to just do this to draw that door. We're going to come down to right about here. Now, I'm only mapping the space out. We're going to end up going over that in blue, so no worries. Okay, now we have to do, I think, the hardest part. We're going to come over here. If you look in the picture, our bedpost is right under that picture. So we're going to make like a little stick place, and then we're going to do like a sloping mountain. And then we're going to do another stick that comes straight down to the floor, just like that. And that's our backboard of our bed, okay? And then we're going to come over here where this part hits the door, and we're going to make another one. Make a slope that looks just like the slope that we did at the top of the picture. And make another stick down. Just like this. And then this kind of goes across like that. And now we have, boy, I didn't do very good on that one, did I? I think we need to change our slope. Oh, that's better. I'll just smudge that one out a little bit. Okay, now we've made our bed. We're going to connect these two to each other. And over there, I have it drawn just a little bit differently, but we'll have the pillow. So let's go ahead and map a pillow in. This pillow sort of juts out like that, and then this sheet falls over the bed. So actually, all of this is white, and we're just going to map it in white to help us to remember, okay? And our bed will be just a little bit different than his. All right. Because we see a little bit of our bedspread. I didn't make this one quite as big as I should have. That's okay. All right, now we have a table. So let's put a table over here. The corner of that table kind of goes into the corner of the room. So we're going to bring this out like this. Sort of straight across, and we're going to make a little table. It's a little harder to draw accurately with this pastel, but that's okay. Do some legs down. They're like little sticks. Okay. Now my table is a little bit more elongated than his was. Maybe we should make it more squarish. Okay. And I don't want to put too much white on there. Let's see. He has some things on it. We'll deal with that in the pastel. And then we have a chair. So the chair is sort of like the table where we have to make kind of like a square. But the square has to kind of go back in space a little bit. Sort of like, almost like a diamond. It's sort of at an angle, looks like a diamond, doesn't it? And then we need some chair legs. And there's one in the back. And then there's a big one here that sort of arcs and comes up. And we're going to make a square on the back. And 2 rungs. And then maybe there's a few rungs this way, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, so we got a chair. And then there's a chair over here. It's going to look more like what a chair would normally look like. Because it's closer to us. So it'll feel more like a real chair. And it's got this sort of tufty thing. And the legs. Okay. And his kind of looks like it has a poofy pillow on it. It's probably made of woven straw or something like that. Okay, so we've mapped out our bed. Now, he does have a rack back here, but let me see. Maybe we should draw in his... Maybe this picture should be bigger. Let's make this picture just a little bit bigger. It is a landscape. And then we're going to put the rack that's behind his bed that has his clothes hanging on it. So let's just make the rack like this. Okay, and we've mapped out the major space. We will have to put the floor in and some stuff, but let's go ahead. And I think there's a towel hanging on this wall, so let's make like a white towel. Maybe this is the door off to his bathroom. Okay, all right, so now we're done for the most part with our white to start. I think I'd like to go ahead and lay in the yellow for the windows. So we'll put a little yellow on top of these windows. That's the lightest part. It's not really white, it's mostly yellow and then turns to green. And then we have a dark green, so let's go ahead and do our dark green there. And lay in our shutter that holds that window. We're just drawing lines to fill in where we did, and then you want to go between each window like this. Okay, and then we're going to take that light green and we're going to copy his shadows. I don't know if the light is cast green or if this is actually a shutter, not a window. I kind of read it like it was a window. Okay, our window's done. And then, let's see, what else should we do? I like kind of doing the background, so maybe we should... No, let's go ahead and do our tables. We've got some stuff on this table, which we'll have to put in, but let's go ahead and do our legs. Use your brown and put your table legs in. You can go over that white and smear it just a little bit, just to give it some highlights. My table leg looks a little bit big on that one side, but and then bring it here. And I'll do the front of the table, but the back of the table we got to be careful about because we're going to end up putting looks like a basin. I'm going to switch to blue real quick. And a water jug, a little spout and a handle. And that's where how people used to wash their hands in this basin. A basin is a big bowl. And they would take water and they would pour it in the big bowl. And they wash their hands and face and sometimes their bodies too, when you didn't have running water. So, or you could use it for drinking water. The pitcher could be used for drinking water. Okay, so we put our pitcher on there, and then we have in the background we had like a vase. So I'm going to use my green and make just a vase shape. I didn't want to put this on the table brown yet until we did our little things that we have on there. So here's the vase. I'm adding white to that green to sort of smear it out a little bit. Looks like he's got some. And you don't want to wipe your pastel off during colors if you're switching colors. I did not do that. Some bottles or something here. We're being kind of impressionistic slightly because this is awfully hard to do details with this. Okay, that's good enough. And we'll go ahead and put our brown behind it. And we're going to kind of go up right next to those things and maybe around behind this one. Okay. And the table does go off to the side there. Oops, I got a little green on my brown. All right, we got our table put in. Now our chairs, they sort of look like a mixture between yellow and this brown. So I'm going to first do them yellow. I'm going to go over the white that I did already and just kind of fill it yellow. I'm going to do the same one over here, okay? And if you had a goldenrod or a yellow ochre crayon, that would be the color I'd pick, but we're going to have to kind of make our own. Excuse me, in this picture. All right, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of brown on there. I'm going to scriggle it around a little bit. Not too hard, just a few little tufts on there. And then I'm also going to do like the cushion part. So just a couple little hash marks into the center like it's a cushion. And then we'll do the same thing over here. And really what we're doing is creating a new yellow type of yellow color that's gonna be really cool when we mix it together. Okay, so we've got that. And we also need to do our bed. So our bed is really light and it's a big piece. So let's go ahead and fill this in with white real quick. The parts that we're going to make the bed. And if it's easier for you to go ahead and do your red before, I don't want you to get confused. So let's put our red in so we can see. We're going to make our red go here and then just sort of taper off right there. Okay. Now we can see the two separate parts of our bed. Okay. I didn't want you to get confused. All right. So white goes here, just a light. And we'll just do a little light in the background. We don't want to lose our pillows. Okay, and then I'm going to take this yellow and go on it. We may even use our finger to smear it. Ooh, I got a little bit of red on there. That's all right. We'll blend it in. We'll put some yellow over the white to kind of make a light yellow. Do the same on the back of the bed because the wood from the back of the bed is really similar to that of the chairs in his picture. Okay. Now I actually am used to using powdery pastels, not crayons, but I thought this would be kind of fun. Okay, then I'm going to take my finger and just do a little rubby rub. Ooh, look what I did. Mix that red in there. I might have to go over that. We'll just mix it in. Give it some texture. You have to hold your paper and kind of push around a little bit to get that. Oh, that looks cool. Okay. I'm going to smear this around with my finger. You could use a paper towel rolled up if you want, but I actually think fingers work pretty good. And, you know, we have that same thing. So let's look where some of these shadows are. There's a little brown thing there. A little bit of a shadow here. We could do our wood streaks. Okay, and then back here we got a little shadow there. Some shadow here. And I'm just going to kind of give it just a little bit of shadow by those pillows, okay? And then take your finger, give it a little rub. We're going to kind of just make the impression that there's wood there. Careful not to rub that pillow too hard. Okay, there's our bed. Now we're going to do the same thing with our chairs. We're going to give it a little smear to combine those colors. Not too much, not all over the place. Try to control your finger and go in the same direction as the pastel that you drew. So we're just softening those lines a little bit. You could use a Q-tip too if you wanted. Knowing me, I'd probably end up breaking the Q-tip. All right. Maybe just a little there. Great. Okay, and maybe a little shadow. I'm going to take that yellow and really blend it in. You can come in here with yellow and with white and really intensify those colors if you'd like. Trying to stay away from that. I'm going in between the panels with a little white. Hitting that top part a little bit. A little bit more haphazard now. Okay, and then let's hit our chairs just with a little white. There's like a little bit of intense white on that chair where the cushion part is. Okay, I'm happy with that. And let's go over here and put our lights in. If you notice, there's like 4 triangles kind of on that chair where the seat cushion is. Okay. This table needs more work, but I might wait on that for just a little bit. When we do our final details, we'll do that. Okay? All right, so we need to do our panel back here. And we're going to approach it the same way that we did our wood for our chairs, only we're going to maybe let it be a little different. You can make it whatever color you want. And then we have a frame on this picture. Do that one. And I'm going to put just a little brown on these pictures. And then these are actually, I might actually get rid of this one. I might just do this one. I'll make the other one disappear. We won't make it exactly like his room, because I didn't map the space the same. Excuse my coughing. I have really bad allergies. All right. And then we've got some clothes hanging down. So let's start with the dark blue. And we're going to make this shirt look like it's just kind of hanging there. And then maybe there's a few other things back behind the bed. Hanging on hooks. That's probably his closet. But we also see that there's highlights on there. So let's go ahead with our white and we'll come in here and we'll just put some highlights on those clothes. And it looks like there might be a hat over there. Let me take a look at that. Sort of looks like it could be a hat. We might just leave that one off. And then we have some places where we see some hooks in between. Okay, all right, it's looking pretty good. Our towel has a little red stripe on it, so let's do a couple of red stripes on there. And I'm just using a little bit of brown to get some shadows. Okay, and then I'll take my white in there. I'm going to wipe my white off first because it's covered in blue. I'm going to come in here and smear those browns to give it a little bit of shading. I'll try to stay out of the reds. Now we have like a little shading going on. Okay. All right. And what else we got? The floor and the background. So the background, I'm going to turn my picture around because I can work better. And we might start out with doing our blue over here. I'm not going to do it super dark, but this will be left kind of dark. And this one over here, on this side, is a door. So that's going to end up being kind of a light blue, but it'll be darker than, so we'll just hit it with just a little white. We don't want to overdo it. And then over here, ooh, I got pastel on my paper, on my space. All right, just hit it with a little white. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to tap my paper off on my paper towel because I feel like I'm getting lots of nerdlies and I don't want to mess up my picture. So I'm just going to take it, give it a little shake, making sure to keep all of those things on the table because they will get on the carpeting. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead in here and I'm just going to hit really light blue because we don't actually want it to be too intense, but we want to smear a little bit of blue on this background. So I'm just going to hit it lightly with my pastel. We're not coloring dark and we're not pushing really hard. Just lightly. This one's going to have even less, but I'm just going to put the blue at the bottom of the picture because if you look at the top, it's pretty light with white. So I'll just do a few things in there. Okay, and then the top part here is actually kind of a grayish color. So I will take a little bit of black mixed with white and do a little smeary. You're actually, when you're using oil pastel, you're almost mixing paints on the surface of your work, which can be scary to some people, but also fun to some other people. Okay, so we're going to take our white and we're just going to kind of mix the blue that we put down with the white, going around our jars. Oh, watch out for those clothes. We don't want to do that. We may end up making this a little bit lighter here in a minute, but I just want to get a good base layer down. We want to come in between. And this one is actually pretty white, so I'm going to push pretty hard over here because it's mostly light. Just a little blue. And I'm going to go over that painting that I didn't position well. Pretty nice. Okay. Now ours does look a little different, but I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, and then back in here we're going to intensify that corner a little bit. Intensify this corner just a little bit so we can still see. Okay, that this room has dimension. And then we're going to come in with our finger. Now, if you like the texture, I actually kind of do like it the way it was, but just to show some technique, you can come in here with your finger. It doesn't have to be perfectly smeared, but just, I want there to be a definition between the objects and the background. That's the reason I'm doing it, because I don't want them to like blend in together. Okay? I want to be able to see the difference between the bed and the wall. And some of that will be taken care of when we do our black outlines, which is something he did a lot. If you wrinkle your paper like I just did, it's okay. Just try not to tear it. Okay. Pretty happy with that. I think I want to work on this a little. My finger. But, you know, it's your call. You know, you got to do what looks good to you. If you're doing your own room, boy, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. I'm trying to make it look like something. Got a little bit of that red in there on accident from my finger. I'm just going to cancel it out. Actually, it doesn't look all that bad. It kind of looks like the color the bed's supposed to be. All right. I'm going to go ahead and whiten these in pretty good. Now, his are kind of off-white, but I think it's because of the age of the painting, maybe. I'm going to push really intense on those whites. Now, we're almost done. It's almost time to do our details. We do have this floor to do. Now, I'm going to use this green, and I'm going to go ahead. We have quite a bit of it, and as you see, it moves into white. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if this is going to be opaque enough on this blue paper, but we're going to give it a shot. Ours may look a little different. I'm going to go ahead and just mostly fill in, because we can go back and put some texture in it after the fact if we want. And the whole thing isn't colored green. When it gets down here, he just does these little spots. So we're going to use, this green is more of a lime green, but we can make it turquoise by adding a little blue and white to it. So most of the back of his room is pretty much colored green. Under this chair and even right here under the bed. He's got some other little, almost like slats. My green broke, imagine that. And I'm using the flat side to create these sort of panels that come out. Maybe there's one here. So we're going to start using this flat green side to just create some texture and panels in this floorboard, okay? That works pretty good. All right, now this color of this green is bothering me a little bit because it is lime green, although I love lime green. I really like the colors that Van Gogh chose. So I may actually try to make it look more like his by adding just a little bit of blue. Over that green first, and then mixing white on top. Okay, we're almost finished. I'm probably making this take a lot longer than I need to, but I always have fun spending time with you. And if you were in my classroom, I'd want to show you these things too. You guys know how I am. For me, art is, when I teach art, it's about really connecting with my friends. And I'm not always in a rush. It's hard because we have to be rushed a little bit, but I try to make it fun, but I also want you to have some times in your life when you slow down and you just spend time together and you learn something and you don't have to rush. I think we all need that sometimes, to just be in the moment together. I think that's why I like to teach, because I just like to take a moment and be in the moment with you and show you something new and discover new things that you create. I always tell you in my classroom, you all can vouch for me with your parents, that teaching art is my absolute dream job. I love it. I love my students, I love kids, and I love art. It's my two favorite subjects. It's absolutely my dream job. It is a very hard job. It's a lot harder than people realize. But it is so fulfilling to me to watch my students get excited about art and creating. Okay, we've created some sort of a background space, and now I'm going to take this little tiny piece of white that I've got, and I'm going to lay in some really intense white spots down here. I'm not doing it exactly right, but we're just going to kind of run into that green a little and just create some panels. It's not exactly the same as his. We could be a lot more careful, but let's just have some fun and give our picture some texture. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, the last step that we have to do is we have to put our darks in. So we might be using a little bit of this dark brown. We might be using black. And I know myself, and I'm going to go ahead. I probably will end up using quite a bit of black in here as we do our details. So I'm going to go ahead and take off some paper just to get ready. All right. So what I'm going to say to do is to start at the top of our painting, because we don't want to, oh, you know what I forgot to do? We forgot to put some people in these pictures, so we'll do that. There's a lady here. We're going to just pretend she's going to have dark hair. Maybe we're going to put, you know, I do have a skin color. We could do a skin color. I'm sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off before. We're just going to make it look sort of like the impression that there's somebody there. And over here we have, this one has like a focal point of a tree, big tree. So we're going to do that. There's something sort of bluish green there. And then the rest is sort of a yellow brown. And the background looks white. All right, so we're just kind of making a landscape, and then these just have these like little, almost like trees or something going on in them. So we'll just make it look like there's something in the picture, but we don't really know what. All right, back to the black. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with my corners. I'm going to put just a thin line in that corner. We're going to make our door, the place where our door is. And there's a little spot right here, right by that towel. And our mirror has a black frame on it. And it has a string and a tack. So you put a little polka dot and then 2 lines. And then we do have a little bit of darks. Maybe a couple of rails here. And yeah, just use your judgment. He's got just the thinnest line around these frames, not too intense. And this one also has a hanger going up. Okay. And then over here, we just have a few lines. And this one has like a string going up. But these will just kind of do like a shadow outline. Those are people. And this one's not super dark, but we'll just put a few lines. Now let's do our rack. We have a line underneath. And then we have some lines underneath on the chair. Maybe this one here. He doesn't do all of it at the same intensity, which I think creates some drama. I like it. It's not all outlined like a coloring page. Not perfectly, anyway. So just some scraggly lines around your chair, and then maybe a little. All right, and this has a little drawer in the front, and then the tabletop. And we're gonna show the side of it, like. Actually, we could smear that over and just pretend like we didn't make that mistake. Okay. These little bottles will be hard. You can use just the edge of your and there's this thing here, and then we have our pitcher, our basin, and our vase. Okay. All right. Let's do our wall there. This corner we don't really see a whole lot of black, but just put a little line. And then this is where we kind of see black line again. Okay. And let's see. Let's put just a few here. We do see a couple of the wrinkles in these things here. Not a whole lot. Just a few shadows. And then we are going to go ahead and line this just to give that nice defined bed. We're almost finished, friends. I don't know, I think we did pretty good. It's not the perfect perspective, but it was kind of fun. All right, maybe just a few, very thin. To show our bed. And there is a piece of wood that goes right there. That might be kind of nice. Okay. Alrighty. Chair over here. Almost finished, friends. I know I keep saying that. Well, sometimes art takes time. I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it. I wasn't sure exactly how it would go, but I thought, you know, it's worth a shot. I think Van Gogh would be happy. He'd be proud of us, I think. He'd probably be bewildered by the fact that there are people drawing his bedroom. All right, I'm going to lay in just a few blacks on top of this whitish green down here. I'm not going to go do a whole lot of these, but these are just like ideas of where the wood paneling on the floor would have been. We don't want to put them too often. And we are going to go back and kind of smear them in a little bit. Really, we're just giving the impression of floor panels. Okay? Oh, that was fun. I actually really enjoyed this. Okay, let's see what happens if we add a little white to these guys. Just to kind of mute them a little. Because these were sort of grayish. They're not really black, and they're almost brown. But I just think with our color choices that oh, how fun. Okay. Well, I have really enjoyed this with you. And I really hope that you have enjoyed drawing your bedroom or Van Gogh's bedroom, whichever one you decided to do. And I hope you've had a great day. The last thing that you have to do is, well, I mean, this is kind of his picture. But since it's our own, we drew it ourselves, we can definitely put our name on it. So I'm going to write my name. You can sign your name on the bottom of your picture. And I'm going to put the year 2020. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial about drawing Van Gogh's bedroom, and hope you'll join me again. Have a great day, and don't forget to create every single day. Bye for now, everybody.